Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our next live stream. I'll be your producer for this session. Before we start, I do have some quick housekeeping. Please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We seek to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. While we absolutely encourage engagement in the chat, we ask that you please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional, and on topic. Keep an eye on that chat. We'll be dropping helpful links and checking for questions for our presenters to answer live. Our session is being recorded. It will be available to view on demand right here on the Reactor channel. With that, I'd love to turn it over to our speakers for today. Thank you for joining.
Good afternoon, good morning, good something, Marcus. How are you today?
Good evening, yeah. Good evening for me, for you as well, I guess, right?
Yep.
Or where are you based today? In Norway, right?
Oh, I'm in Norway, so yeah, same.
Yeah.
So
very happy to be here together with you. Always wanted to be together with David Letterman in a show on YouTube. And finally, I'm there. Right?
Yeah, it's just too bad that even though we are live and we have no slides and everything, we don't have a studio band. I think that's the thing that we need to improve for next time.
Oh, I could have brought one because like the last 2 days I was together with a band rehearsing for 2 straight days, like from morning to afternoon. Yeah, next time I will bring them.
Next time, yeah. we'll make sure. I mean, we have to do this again, so this is. And hello to you wherever you are out there as well. I hope you are ready to join in with questions. Drop a comment in the chat. Where are you from? I saw somebody from East Anglia when I peeked in the chat earlier. We have some moderators online as well. Alexi and Jeff are there at least, and Timo. So they will be ready to answer questions as well. But for now, let's see. We did get some questions coming in because we had an open thread on Reddit where people could ask questions. So have you taken a look at any of these yet, Marcus?
I have taken, what's the right wording? I have taken a look, or whatever. I looked at it. A lot of questions there, exciting questions. Not that I have answers to all of them, but maybe we just take from some from there. And of course, if you have a question watching this show live, then please receive with a Q and a dash, a Q and a colon. Yeah, so we can find it easily as a question. Shall we take a look on Reddit?
Yeah, so we have asking the question we all have been afraid, and we all have and were afraid to ask. But is that
That's the one. I think there was one.
Yeah,
here one from Chen Retten. I hope I pronounced the name rightly. What did I think we could take this later.
Yeah. So what are the best practices for data lineage today? I'm using notebooks with PySpark transformations all the way. And I want to be able to say where column A in my Gold Lakehouse is coming from. What do you think?
Yeah, who doesn't want to, right? If there's something wrong in the report, you want to know where it comes from. And currently, this is harder to do than it should be, if you ask me, right? Because there's no built-in solution which can scan your notebooks. I think Purview has some solutions there, but I'm not sure if this can look into the notebooks and the transformations you're doing there within Spark. Do you think about it?
No, I'm not sure. And it's the same thing with because you do have some sort of lineage going on, but at the column level, I'm not sure. But what I do know, and what I really have fallen in love with, are the materialized lake views. Because when you build the materialized lake views, you get a full lineage from end to end, and it's automatically updated. And because when you do the delta data stream, so the table properties in delta table turning the stream on, sorry, the change. That's the problem with no script. The change data capture, so the change data feed in Delta Lake. That's one I want. You turn that table property on. That means that you can automatically trigger whenever a change has landed in your bronze table. It will automatically trigger the refresh of the materialized lake views that are built on top of that, so silver and gold. And it has a proper DAG in place, and that means you also have lineage properly in place. So I think that, in my opinion, that should be the best practice. But apart from that, I think you'd need to do something like one of the professional catalogs. Look into Purview, look into things like Colibra or Informatica, but I mean, they are quite expensive. So
the other option would be like to build a framework, like a data-driven framework. I used this in a project a couple of months ago, where they came in with a prepared framework, which is like a data-driven, right? You just put information into tables, and then the notebooks read those tables, those definitions, and do the transformation. Now, of course, you can then look up those tables to find out what is connected to what, and find then your data lineage through that. That would be the option, but there's no built-in solution, as I am aware of, right? As good.
No, at least not the best practice for this. You can, of course, also use some of the Open Lineage and so the Apache Atlas APIs to make your notebooks post lineage into Purview. I think that's still available, but I don't know if I can call it the best practice. But it's an option, at least. And that was the culture number 3319 that asked that question. Yeah. And then we have Champity Champ asking, how can you make the Fabric Capacity Metrics app make more sense? That is a good one. What do you say, Marcus?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very grateful that we have it, right? We at least have this application where we can look up the most important KPIs, how Fabric does and what's the shape of it. On the other hand, I mean, this is open source, right? You can always like change or make a copy of the thing, and then change the semantic model, add your own measures, or ingest your own data to enrich the data available there, or even like build or change the reports there. That would be a solution. Other than that, I mean, be grateful that we have it, and if there's something missing, of course, like I'm not sure who's in charge. Is this something where you would put a question to ideas.fabric.microsoft.com to get changes there? I'm not even sure about that.
Yeah, I saw there is a follow-up on this. Also, my Entra admins won't give me a service principal for FUAM, which would have been the one most sensible approach for this. Can you force their hand for me? And Champity Champ, if you're there listening, call up your Entra admins and tell them that Johan and Marcus has said you should have. Preferably, they can also do that. Give the service principal on a workspace level. Might be something that's maybe more palatable for them. But yes, they should be doing that, because that is the best practice for security reasons. So, but yeah, making more sense out of the Fabric app, so the metrics app as it is, connect to the underlying semantic model and build your own report, basically. It's until Microsoft decides to improve it, which they will at some point, but then I don't know. If it will make more sense or less sense, that depends on the eyes watching, I guess. All right. Fabric notebooks can't use the on-premises data gateway and have no static outbound IP, which rules them out for IP-locked vendor sources. Is managed private endpoints via Azure Private Link Service the only real workaround, or am I overcomplicating things? Clarissa asks.
I'm afraid she's not overcomplicating things, right? There's nothing available currently to connect.
Oh yeah, there is actually.
There is the one? No, okay.
Yeah, well, first of all, there are actually two different options. So first of all, you can basically don't use notebooks for landing data or ingesting data in, at least for these sources. Use a pipeline, and then kick off the notebooks from there. So that's option one. If that's not an option for you for some reason, You can also put an API management gateway in front and use the static outbound API from there and use the notebook via the API or APM interface. Or you can also do some similar kind of proxy functionality with an Azure function. So there are some options available to you that are simpler than using the private endpoints. I mean, I think personally I would have redesigned those few, I don't know how many you have, Clarissa, but at least those ingestions I would have changed it to a pipeline. That would probably be the easiest. But if you have an APM installed in your tenant, that can also be an option instead, or a function. But yeah, it does simplify things a lot versus the management of private endpoints.
So splitting up the steps, right? Doing the transformation still in the notebook, but reading and ingesting the data through the pipeline instead of the notebook. That's what you're suggesting, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This makes perfectly sense. That's true. Yeah.
Right. And then we have why does show items with no data not work with small multiples in visuals like line charts? And why does the UI not communicate this to the user in any way? Is it ever going to work with small multiples? Guess it's more of a you question, Marcus. I'm not that big on the visuals anymore.
No small multiples, but I never tried them for the line chart. Let me think. Why do you not work with small multiples? No data. So the question is it like you would not expect an empty portion, the small multiples, right? But within the line chart there, I would have to look this up. Something I need to try out to get my hands on this, and then I find something maybe or not. Let me write this down and no, I'm not sure.
Yep. I'm sorry, Braxius. We will see if we can call in a friend a bit later on that can help us with that. But for now, we'll just leave that be. I do see a live question popping up.
Okay.
So Sony Xperia 788. How to navigate from Power BI Developer to DP 600/700 or SQL AI? What will the career roadmap look like? I suspect that the career roadmap that Microsoft designs will be updated, and since there's a FabCon coming up in September, end of September, we might see some things going on there. But I mean, how to and what do you want to do is also another valid question to that, or answer to that. Question back. I mean, Marcus, did you start off as a Power BI developer or more of a regular back or ETL developer?
I started with the backend, right? SQL developer for many years before Power BI was a thing, and of course, like putting things to the front to the end user, to people who need to analyze the data was always an issue, or like one of the things you have to tackle if you do a business intelligence project. But myself coming from the backend, right, and like Power BI is very important, but it's like the last step. And if you think historically, that the first prepare all the data in the background, use SQL databases or Fabric or Lakehouse or whatever, or Power Query, and then present the data in a data layer. This is where Power BI comes into. Now I can find the question. How do you navigate from Power BI to the okay. So you would go like backwards to what I did, right? You start with Power BI and then finding out how you can enrich your skills you have as a data engineer, because this is basically what this DP 600, 700 or 800, 850 about, right? Transforming the data with other tools than Power Query.
Yeah, and I think it would be what do you see most useful for yourself in your at least start the next few years? Is it learning Python, going more on the data engineering side? Is it going SQL developer or DBA, because 800 is more of a DBA developer thing? Or do you see yourself more as a data analyst? So more of the wrangling data. I mean, that is what I see this as. But again, there is a roadmap coming in, most likely sometime. What is it? Third quarter. So keep an eye open for announcements at FabCon, I think. And we have another question. So which MCPs do you recommend for working with Microsoft technologies? For example, the Microsoft Learn MCP. What other MCPs would you recommend? What is it, Marcus?
Have you done any MCP servers? I didn't have time to set one up. On my list of doing things.
Yeah.
No, into this.
I use the Fabric MCP server. And I mean, it's still under development in my opinion, but I do like landing my data in Fabric, and I do like using the ontologies so I can create the context around everything. I tried using the semantic models; they didn't work as well as the ontologies. So if you're going that way, so pulling data in and opening that up for users, Fabric MCP server is a good way to go. Apart from that, I have used the WorkIQ part and the 365 MCPs. They are also quite useful. But other than that, I haven't worked that much with any of the other MCPs myself.
But the third one, you can recommend. Yeah, was not that bad.
Yeah, at least for now, I'd say use the Fabric MCP. There's also a set of Fabric data engineering skills that you can download in Copilot for Visual Studio Code, for instance, which will also help you there. So yeah, I would recommend that. Then we have Mohammed Shihab something. Can Power BI handle visualizations for big data? Or is it only the job of Databricks?
Why would you ask a question like this? Of course, Power BI can handle tons of data. Right?
Yeah.
Like with direct lake integration, even on the delta tables. So yeah, okay, it's coming late to me. How can Power BI handle? Can Power BI? Yes, the question would be easy. Yes, and it's yes. So you can also use Databricks, and I think the
Did you freeze, Marcus?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you are.
I'm here again. I'm sorry for any interconnectivity issues, but I have like 90 megabit up and downstream upload and download, so I'm not sure why this happens. Not sure what did you get or what not, but like Databricks and Fabric also now announced that they have a better integration that Databricks can actively write into Fabric data lakehouse, and I think also the other way around. So the integration will be better. So it's not a choice about how much data you have, but it's more a choice of what skills you're having, what kind of infrastructure you already have. That will be like the most important things to decide on Fabric or Databricks or a hybrid solution was possible, right?
But yeah, Power BI can handle visualizations with big data, but it of course always depends on what's the definition of big data here, and how much data do you want to render? Because if you want to render a billion data points in a map, I think I wouldn't use Power BI, but I don't think Databricks or these kind of situations could handle it either. I think you gotta go to something custom. But yeah, answer is yes, it can. Then we have Jose Silva. He has what runtime 2.0 improvements, so Spark 4 and Delta Lake 4, have had the biggest impact on real-world production workloads and performance?
Where's the question? Having troubles in finding the questions and reading them myself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. Maybe the order is different than my order. Okay. No, I can find it. Can you repeat the question? Yeah,
so the question is, where they have it? what Runtime 2.0 improvements, so Spark 4 and Delta Lake 4, have had the biggest impact on real-world production workloads and performance?
I don't know.
I think we'll say that for a bit later, because I think we have a friend coming in later on that can help us with that one. Because I haven't used it myself, so I don't think I can have a better one there. But I think right now, I will take my phone and I will call in our resident data witch. Because, yeah. Hi, Shannon, can you join on the stream, please? We have some questions for you. Hey, there she is.
Immediately.
And summoned. All right, so what can I help you with?
Let's see. Wait, first of all, we had this small multiple question that me and Marcus couldn't answer. Should I read it again?
Well, why don't we? Sure. I mean, so tell me the question. We'll see if I have the answer.
Yeah, let's see if I can find it again.
On Reddit.
Oh, yeah, that's one. It was on Reddit. It was not on the one.
Why does show items with no data? Yeah. Yes, exactly. Not work with small multiples in visuals like a line chart. Why does the UI not communicate this to the user in any way? Is it ever going to work with small multiples?
Is it ever going to work with small multiples
with UI?
So,
sure.
I believe
it's sometime in the future.
Official answer, is it ever going to work with small multiples? It has not been communicated. That is not on the roadmap. It may or may not be being worked on. I think what you're going to hear us talk a lot about as we move forward is if you want really beautiful custom visuals, Rayfin is going to be a great option. So Fabric Apps or Project Rayfin, but we can talk about that more later. But the answer is, unfortunately, no, it's not on the roadmap. However, we're doing a lot of updates to the inbuilt core visual sets that exist now. We're giving those a lot of love. They were perhaps neglected for a while, and now they're coming back into focus. So that could potentially be touched. But the real answer is no, it's not officially on the roadmap.
All right. Then we have another question for you. So what capability makes the biggest impact on Power BI reports over the next year? That's a hard question.
It's a big question. And I think if anyone is playing, I don't know, session bingo or something, if we say AI, if you say AI 3 times, it conjures up Clippy or something. But I think
so we won't summon you by doing that then?
Maybe, try it.
Maybe, yeah.
But I think realistically, there are so many things coming down the line with AI that have potential. We are yet to see that potential realized in a real production environment. So we've got things coming down the line like chat with your data for report consumers. We've got AI ready semantic models that we can make sure we have prepped and ready for Fabric IQ and things like that. We've got natural language report creation coming down the pipe with using MCPs and using all sorts of different AI capabilities. But with all of those things being said, I think AI is actually not the answer. I think the answer, the thing I am most excited about in the coming year is actually the amount of resources on the engineering side and the PM side that are going into just supporting visuals in Power BI. I'm not sure if you all noticed, but the default for Power BI for the canvas size and the visuals changed about maybe 2 months ago, was it, Marcus? If for anyone who is building reports on the latest versions of Power BI desktop or in the service, you'll see that visually they look different. They look more modern. And we're also making improvements all over the place. So conditional formatting is getting some love. Matrix and tables are getting a lot of love. And I know people have had lots of thoughts and complaints about those for a long time. We're getting some navigation improvements. Slicers are improving. And most importantly, accessibility is improving. So I think in the coming year, on the data viz side, I am the most excited just about the love that they're giving to the visuals in Power BI.
That is good. I'm looking forward to that because that's something I see a lot of people asking about. So that's really good. So we have another question for you as well, since you're here. Because there's this World Championship for Visualization, DataVis Champ, and I know that you are involved with that in some way. So why should people join up?
Great question. Why in the world would you put yourself out there on stage, building something, doing something scary where you think you might not win? Why should we do it? Why would you do it, Marcus?
Because it's fun. You learn a lot, right? You can show off your skills. And we have to dig deep into things to find a solution for that, right? It's like playing Sudoku, right? But with Power BI.
Yes, precisely. And I think we actually have a session next week where we have some of our friends who are in the chat, Taylor and Philippa, are going to give us a session about exactly this. Why should you join contests? The Data Visualization World Champs is going on right now. The submissions are out of this world, incredible. And I also really love looking at the submissions and seeing people who say, this is my first ever Power BI report that I've built. And they're incredible. And it is so scary to learn in public, but what a better way to learn than to actually put your hands on the keyboard and build something. And then you also have something to show off when you're applying for jobs and you say, I can do Power BI, and they say, show me. Well, then you have something to show them. So I think there's lots of reasons, but I, of course, love this stuff. So my opinion's a little bit biased.
Well, that's good. That's why we have you here. And it is fun. And honestly, going out of your comfort zone and trying something that you've never done before is a really good way to learn, and it's a really good way to develop yourself, develop your career. Just taking that first step will actually help you a lot. So yeah, thumbs up for me. All right, let's move on. And I thank you, Shannon. We talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right, ciao.
Bye-bye, thank you.
We have one more question coming in.
Okay.
So from Syed Imran Hassan, as AI and Copilot increasingly automate SQL, DAX, data modeling, and report development, what core skills should data analysts master to remain valuable to become strategic data professionals?
There you go. Yeah, I mean, what AI? I mean, AI can come up with SQL, DAX, or other things, but like making sense out of data, understanding the data, that's still something I think there needs to be a human for doing that. So instead of like debugging your DAX or finding a solution for the SQL statement, you can now concentrate more on understanding the data and make sense out of the data, right? Finding insights, finding outliers, finding trends, finding things which are counterintuitive, and then dig deeper into it. Maybe it's a data quality issue, maybe it's something really where your organization can benefit from, because this is a deeper insight for that. So that's, I think, there will always be valuable strategic data professionals out there.
Yeah, understanding the data.
Yeah.
Understanding the data, seeing them. And I mean, yes, you can do let AI do data modeling, but at the same time, the more, at least at the state that AI is now, and probably for a long time still, you can be a better and more efficient professional if you're using AI. But you still need to understand the basics. You still need to understand what it is doing, because it can throw up shitty code. It can do things that doesn't make sense. And if you didn't know about the basics yourself, you wouldn't know where to start looking. And it's quite expensive to start using Claude Code or GitHub Copilot and asking it to review its own code, because it will cost a lot of tokens. So being able to foolproof that yourself is important. So knowing the basics will still be important. Knowing how to see the patterns and how to understand when you're profiling the data is a very valid choice. and then using AI in a smart way.
This also fits into the previous question from Siad, where he writes, how can organizations ensure the Copilot-generated DAX, SQL, and insights are accurate and trustworthy before using them for business decisions? Like a couple of 515 timestamp. Yeah, the same thing, right? Have humans there to prove this. Have use cases there where you can evaluate what's the outcome, right? If it's the correct outcome or not. Like as to test any code, hopefully, no matter if it's AI driven or if it's Copilot generated or if it's human generated, right? You should be able to test and verify and evaluate whatever the outcome is in order to decide if this is the valid and accurate code you're running there on your data.
Do I really get what I expect to by asking AI, or has it done something strange? And of course, it will always say, "Oh yes, that was a good catch. Thank you," when you catch it. So
exactly.
Then we have a question more from Brujo Maldito. Should I have to chase Databricks on Azure or Microsoft Fabric Runtime 2.0? So pros and cons on that. I'm not sure if I get that question. So should I choose Databricks or Microsoft Fabric Runtime 2? Is that the one? That's the way you read it as well?
Again, I'm trouble stuff. Should I have to choose Databricks on Azure or Microsoft Runtime 2 pros and cons? I think there's an answer from Shannon just below. What Runtime 2.0 improvements Spark 4 and Delta Lake 4 have had the biggest impact on real-world production workloads and performance?
No, that's yeah. So it's not what I will answer the question as I think it should be. So it is basically a matter of where your organization wants to do their performance or their data transformations. Databricks and Fabric are both valid Spark engines, and it's basically, do you want to be more of a Databricks house or more of a Fabric house? It's as simple as that. Both are good technologies for this. Then I think we have to call in another friend here. I know that Alexi was supposed to come in, so let's call him. Hey, Alexi, can you come on?
Hello,
hello.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Hey, we're good. You?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. So, what did you want to ask from me?
Well, have you, by any chance, implemented OneLake security in a production environment since it went GA? What was the results, and what are the pain points? We want to know.
Yes, actually, I'm in the process of implementing it to one of my clients, and we have been doing the implementation for like around 1 month for now. It took me some time to design the implementation, and now I'm actually on summer holiday, summer vacation, and there are guys are now doing everything based on my plans. Of course, we did few like pilot cases before I left for the holiday, but things are ongoing there, and there are like a lot of things to love about OneLake security, and I think it's like a big step for Fabric overall that we get this like one security model that all the engines should respect. Of course, like slight minus there that it's only for Lakehouse and Lakehouse type of items like mirror databases and those type of things, but still very much a great addition to Fabric. What are your thoughts about like OneLake security if we go them through quickly?
No, personally, I think it's finally getting closer to enterprise readiness, like because it was a big miss from my side of not having an end-to-end security feature. Though I was at FabCon in Atlanta, you were there as well, and I heard them talking about it, the engineering team that had implemented it, and I can understand why it took so long, because there were so many things that they needed to do to get things working properly. And I'm really impressed. But yeah, it's still not fully there yet. It's Lakehouse, as you say, but yeah, I like it.
Yeah, what about you, Markus?
Yeah, it's very complicated, right, to do all the security through the different engines. Like if you would do this on your own, it's very difficult. So it's very, very good that we have something like OneLake Security, which helps off with that. So I'm looking forward to get my fingers on that in one of the next projects. And it totally makes sense, right? That one of the plus or the benefits of having like one software as a service thing like Fabric, where everything is implemented by one vendor, and of course the vendor can then take over those complicated things and implement this once for everybody instead of everybody trying to find out how they can synchronize the security roles and everything throughout different engines or different sources.
Yeah, I've been on a long-term
Very
project I was on a long-term project where we were implementing an open source solution on-prem, basically because we couldn't set things into cloud yet. And the amount of work we had to put in to put security everywhere, it's still an ongoing journey. So yes, very happy that we can just put that off to a vendor and say, good luck.
Yeah. Like security is one of those topics that is not so sexy in a sense, but it's really, really important, like when we are thinking about enterprise level solutions. But more about like the OneLake security implementation that I have been doing. Like I said, there are a lot of things to love about like OneLake security. And I think one of the nice things about it that we have like really good APIs for managing those roles. That's really nice. For example, we have like a put request that we can use to like construct like a huge payload and manage all the roles in the lakehouse with just one request. Because like we all know that Fabric API doesn't like to take in too many requests. So like one big request is better than like multiple small ones. But like one of the pain points, because that was asked, is that like when you create those OneLake security roles to a lakehouse, you still need to provide additional access on top of that, meaning that we either need to give users a workspace viewer role. That's one option that they need to have. So they need to see the item where we have defined those roles, meaning a lakehouse. Or we can share the lakehouse without any additional permissions for them and then manage things via that. So we have basically those two options that we can use. And I think either one of those is not perfect. The issue that I'm having with the workspace viewer role, that it grants like viewer access to all the items in the workspace, and it's unnecessary. But good thing about the workspace viewer role is that it is way more easily programmatically manageable because there are like API ways of adding users to workspace viewers. And then we have the item level sharing, like sharing a lakehouse item without any additional permissions. I think that would be better, but the problem there is that no API support for that thing or no proper API support. So that's like the little like thing that I would like to see improve with OneLake security. And I believe that probably that will improve at some point, that we can manage everything in like a very nice CI/CD friendly way. But there are like those like little things that you still have to do via the UI possibly. And one other thing is like the SQL analytics endpoint side, that you have to switch the access mode manually via the UI from the delegated access to the user identity access. And that's also something that I think doesn't have any API, and it's like manual click per lakehouse per SQL analytics endpoint, but still like that those have been my like biggest pain points, but nothing that massive. And when we have been managing things on like table and schema level, everything has been working quite nicely, I think. But like we haven't been managing things more granularly, like meaning RLS or CLS. So those could have some like quirks there, but at least like on table and schema level, everything is working nicely.
Yeah. And we know that Microsoft is putting a lot of effort into this, so it's we know it will be better going forward.
I mean, I agree.
Rome wasn't built in a day after all. So we have another question for you though. So what is the most common hands-on scenario candidates trip on during the DP600 exam when working with semantic models or Dataflow Gen 2?
hands-on scenario, like I have to admit that like semantic models and data flow Gen 2 are not my like core expertise. So that's probably, I'm not probably the best person to answer those questions. But what is the common hands-on scenario during DP600 working with semantic models? I don't know. There could be so many different scenarios. That's like hard to answer that question. Do you have any ideas, guys?
What do you say, Marcus?
Yeah, I just think did them like very, very close back to back, the TP600 and 700. So I have like troubles to remember what was asking which of one of those. I think 600 was very SQL emphasized. So there were a lot of, I mean, hands-on is relative because there's no hands-on lab within the exam.
Yep.
But you have like those multiple choice questions, and sometimes you get like a script and there's some missing, there's like empty spaces and you have to fill out through these. But having hands-on experience with I think it's also Python, because I can remember that there was like this really confusing questions like, is it like, I can't remember now, right? Like the order of those elements with the Python code, right? You have like the data set dot something, and this is like in one or the other order. I think this drove me crazy, right? To click on the right answer. Yeah. You don't think too much about it, right? That's your options, which look very, very similar, except for the order of the keywords.
The sneaky questions. Yeah.
Sneaky questions. Yeah. Also with TQ. Yeah.
There are always a lot of like trick questions in those exams, so you really have to know those things when taking the exam. But yeah.
Luckily, you can mark them to review them at the end, right? If you're fast enough, you can then jump back and then think.
If you're fast enough.
Sometimes, like going through the other questions helps you now, like getting the right thing for the first questions. Right?
Yeah, and you can use the documentation in the exam if you have the time nowadays.
Yeah.
It's available.
I didn't do that. Yeah, spending time scrolling up and down on the documentation. Yeah.
All right. I think that was it for you, Alexi. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And enjoy the rest of your summer vacation.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And now I think I will call up the next friend that we have, which is also almost like Alexi. It's Alex Powers. Yeah. Let's see now. Hey, Alex, can you come on stage as well?
Hello.
Hey, there you are. Yay.
Hello. I'm here. I'm ready.
Yeah, here he is.
Perfect.
I thought I would be the best one dressed here, but Marcus with the tie, he's got me beat.
Yeah. It's I tried finding a tie, but I didn't have one that matched the blue. So
okay.
All right, Alex, we have a question for you. So first of all, what are the biggest mistakes you are seeing customers make right now?
Oh my goodness. All right. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is not allowing time to play. And this is that Fabric trial period that's so important. So when we think about like the Learn Docs, when we think about all these great things, let your users go out and play with things and do the tutorials and break things and get throttled, maybe for a day. So then that way they go, oh, I should really rethink this. And then within that, it's finding the right tool for the right job. I know Lakehouse is kind of the big shiny word that everyone's like, I need to build a Lakehouse. And then I get on the phone call and it's like, well, what's your skill set? And they go, well, I have SQL background. Do a warehouse, please. Just use this thing. And then I always like SQL database and Fabric too, because that's opened up a huge new world here with, translytical task flows with now Fabric apps. Having that background where I want to build a transactional processing system to write records into a new database. Like this is a world of new opportunity for a lot of people. You need to bake in playtime as an organization for your users. Maybe it's like a small F2 or F4 capacity that they can kind of have a little bit of a development environment. But I'd be very curious for both of you, like, are you seeing people spending time with play, or is it just go, go, go? What are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, the problem is the size of the company. So the enterprise level, they always lock things down, which means that you don't even get permission to use the trial capacities, which is a pain. But yeah, because you need to let users play. It is important. So the smaller companies, they tend to be, yeah, sure, whatever, just go ahead and play. but they tend to run off because most companies do. I mean, you read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, so the answer to the question of life, universe, and everything is 42. But what's the question really? And most people say, "Oh, Lakehouse." But what was the question really? How should I transform my data? And I have SQL background. Yeah, then okay, not Lakehouse. So that's typically the ant or the mistake I see most people go for. They chose what they want to implement before actually thinking what they need to solve.
For sure. Marcus, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, sometimes also like things can run out of hands. It can also be the other way around, that like everybody becomes an admin and everybody can create workspaces and do transformations and upload Power BI files there, and then one customer, there are 400 workspaces with plenty of reports there, and nobody is in charge. I mean, everybody's in charge of a bit, right? But then it happened, then IT like found out, oh, nobody needs this data source, to turn it off. And then over the weekend, right, a lot of reports did not run. And then the CEO was like not so amused about that. So this can be the other way around. Like if you let things just go without like any governance, without any concept, without anything there. So there's like there's some path in between, right? Give people time to play around, but also make sure that they understand that this is shared capacity, that the capacity they're using can be used by anybody else in the company, things like that, so that they're in charge of things, right? Just being able there to create reports, to produce things, to publish and share information doesn't mean you should do that without any afterthought.
And for those listening in the chat, we're not advocating like go put play in production in the same space.
No.
Please don't do that. Have something dedicated, whether it be a trial, whether it be a small capacity that maybe runs 8 until 4 at the very end of the workday, and maybe it's a time bound. Like after 2 weeks, we blow up your workspace. Like these are fun ways you can still allow people to just experiment. So if I think of my Excel to Power BI desktop transition, it was like I had desktop to play in. Maybe I didn't have the service yet, but it's a little bit different here with Fabric because we require the cloud. So just think about that whenever organizations are starting to build out. Allow time to play. Fabric around and find out. FAFO. All right. What's next?
Next up is how does Microsoft come up with the code names for their products?
Oh my gosh. Well, we go to this massive monster and we ask him for all of his different code names that he'll allow us. But more importantly, we just pull them out of a hat, and that's how we think about them. I think if you were looking at like the internet and GPT, we reuse code names all the time, and that's where it gets confusing. So don't get locked into what we call things behind the scenes. Once it gets out in the market, just pray that we don't rename it in 2 or 3 years. I think that's the best that I've really thought of. So we're stuck with Fabric for now, but let's revisit this maybe like 2030, see if we rebranded it at all.
Yeah, we'll see. It's I guess marketing is part of this as well. It's
Well, I like the Fabric name. It was weird at first. I wasn't quite sure what we were doing in the textile industry, but now it makes sense. We're stitching things together. We're bringing the Fabric.
Yeah, I think I was both me and Marcus were part of the preview, and we were asked, "What do you think about the Fabric name?" And I was like, "Please, God, no, please." They of course didn't listen to me.
No,
so I'll be sulking on this corner over here.
Well, for GPT's purposes, we'll put it here now in the YouTube recording. It was originally called Project Trident. We renamed it to Fabric. So if you see something different than Trident in the future, just know that the robot was wrong.
Yeah, but if you're playing around with the URLs in Fabric, you'll probably see Trident many places.
Yes.
Until somebody backend moves it or renames it after a while. But yeah.
We're good. We pull them out of a hat for anyone curious. But thank you both for having me on.
Oh, wait, I have another question for you.
We got another one. All right. I love this.
Yeah, actually. I'm not sure who get this question, but it's, where did you get that suit?
Oh my gosh. So this is a nice Amazon fabric. So if you go to fabric.com, it'll actually take you to Amazon clothing. That is true. So if you type that in. And then this amazing Reddit Hawaiian shirt, this is off of Etsy. You can buy anything on there. You could put your face on a shirt. You put fabric on a shirt. And hopefully if you're going to FabCon Barcelona, I'll see you there in your amazing custom Hawaiian shirts. And a suit jacket, because we got to look nice. Marcus has set the bar and wear a tie. That's what I'm wearing.
Yeah, I know. It's every time I go to the States, I get stopped by drunk people in the bars asking if I'm David Letterman. So I don't know if I put my picture on the shirt, if it would be me or David.
Well, Johan, I'm
Well,
gonna get a
Yeah.
shirt of you for Atlanta next year. I'm gonna have one running around.
All right. I think that's. Oh wait, I did have one question for you before you go, because
do
that's something that we couldn't handle. Not sure if you have heard or worked with this. So Runtime 2.0 improvement Spark 4 and Delta Lake 4, which has had the biggest impact on real-world production workloads and performance.
What was that thing that they did? I know they had some like liquid clustering and some other stuff that Miles has been talking about a lot more. You'd have to go out and kind of read some of those articles and assets, but I would say anything Miles Cole touches. So if you look out on LinkedIn, he's just rebuilding all of the Learn docs and a lot of those new resources. A wealth of information, and hopefully we can get him on one of these channels too for the Spark kind of workload. But I know that there have been improvements. I still believe it's public preview. You guys can keep me honest here, though. I don't think it's gone general availability quite yet. So check on those before you just decide to switch everything over from production. That'd be my only guidance there.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
All
Thank
right.
you both.
See you later.
Well, see you later. Bye-bye.
All right, Marcus.
Yeah.
Should we try just saying AI 3 times and see if we get Shannon back?
Yeah.
So on 3.
do it, yeah.
1, 2, 3. AI,
AI.
AI, AI.
AI.
Hey, it works.
Well, now everybody knows how to find me. I will be showing up in your living room. Well, what other questions do we have? Are there any things we haven't answered yet?
There is a lot of questions, actually. So let me just dig down. So why are histograms not a visual by default?
This is a great question that I do not have the answer to at all. I've wondered this myself. I think the best option here, that in my opinion, is to use something like the Deneb custom visual. I don't know why it's not a default visualization. No idea.
No idea. Powers that be, maybe. Not Alex Powers, maybe, but
You've got a lot of jokes today.
You know, I did run a radio show, local radio show back in the days. So
You did?
We can tell.
Is there any way to lock a Power BI dashboard from future Microsoft-driven changes for various visuals? I very nearly got fired because of a change from Microsoft on one of my dashboards that I didn't know happened. That was totally out of my hands. Would you ever consider adding a format archival? I'd never heard about that before.
I'm wondering about this question because the usual habit is that nothing changes in the report, even if there's a new change. Can you remember something there like that, Shannon? That changed the look and feel?
I do think that if there are visual changes to specific visuals and something is already published to the service, there is a chance that those visuals can break. I would assume that that is what happened with this person who, I'm so sorry, very nearly got fired. I don't know the answer to this question, but I can say we will bring it back to the team and talk to them about it because this is a real concern, clearly. The main thing I would say is just to put an RSS feed on the monthly updates and make sure that you understand what's going on. Are we dialing in another friend? What's happening?
No, sorry. That was like a private call, not connected to this. Sorry.
Yeah, but so
I mean, I could bring him
question.
in, but and he's into IT, but not too much into Microsoft technology.
Yeah, good
Sorry.
question. And I think there is currently no way to do that. However, I think I'll talk to the product team about it.
Yeah, the same person has also asked, are we ever going to see a built-in DAX debugger? Having to use third-party software to debug or validate my code really rubs me the wrong way.
Well, I would say that we are partway there with DAX Query View. I know that doesn't really necessarily answer the question as far as debugging, but I have found DAX Query View really useful. Marcus, have you played around with DAX Query View?
Yeah, of course, all the time, because it's like it's built into Power BI Desktop. You
Right.
can just use it. There's other nice tools which you can use, but having this in Power BI Desktop is very, very useful, I would say. Yeah. Unfortunately, like there's like this poor man's debugger where you like create, instead of having a table, you create a query for that, maybe put something into visual, and then what I use is like concatenated X, like to like see what's the content of the values or whatever, what's summed up or what's average or whatever. But yes, that would be very, very nice having a built-in debugger there, where you like just click a button and then can go through the code. Yeah, I would appreciate that as well. Yeah.
You know, I have not heard of them working on anything like this, and I haven't really checked out the roadmap lately, but I can say that a lot of these quality of life type updates are going to be coming around the time of FabCon. So that's the end of September, early October. So let's stay tuned to the roadmap, and if we find anything, we can drop it here in the chat. But I do know that these quality of life updates, they know that they're important to us. And so they are actually working on them. And that was, you know, to my earlier answer, that's what I'm so excited about. And that would include something like this too.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm not that I'm not that problem. Don't have any problem with doing separate things, but I can see this. Should we have a final question, because I think we're running up on the hour. It's 4 minutes left. One final question, and I think, how did you get started in Fabric, and what was your first project, Marcus?
The question now is like Fabric, or is it like in data platform? Data platform was Fabric. Fabric was like the first project was a migration project where the customer had a bunch of a lot of stored procedures in SQL, and that's what moved over to notebooks, Spark notebooks, Python notebooks in Fabric. That was the first thing there, which I did.
What really, Shannon?
Notebooks was also kind of my gateway drug into Fabric. And I think the reason that I love them so much is, I'm not sure how many people have played around a lot with Power Query and data flows, but oftentimes you can do things and they just spin and spin and spin, and you get so used to seeing that thing spin on the screen. And I thought, gosh, there's got to be a better way to do this. And then, you know, you write just a few lines of code in a notebook and you can do transformations so fast. I would also say that, like, if you're working with bigger data, Power Query, Data Flows Gen 2 are really great for small-ish data, but the minute the data starts getting bigger, it gets really difficult. So this actually goes back to one of the earlier questions too that we had about big data in Power BI and Fabric. And the answer, to me, I think the answer is notebooks for transformation. But that was my gateway drug too.
Yeah. I actually started with my favorite topic. I mean, it's favorite. I've written a book about it as well. Real-time intelligence, event houses. You can do so many things with KQL databases. So that's where I started in. But I do love the notebooks as well. But I've done them in Databricks as well. So it's that was a very small transition to go from one to the other. But real-time intelligence all the way. All right, I think we should start summing up now. Shannon, thank you. It's been amazing to have you here. We will be careful of not saying AI 3 times in the wrong places. Marcus, always a pleasure.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Thank you very much, Johan.
And I see that we have had so many questions and comments in the chat. It's amazing. I thank you all so much for attending. Wherever you are in the world right now, thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you all for joining, and thanks again to our speakers. This session is a part of a series. To register for future shows and watch past episodes on demand, You can follow the link on the screen or in the chat. We're always looking to improve our sessions and your experience. If you have any feedback for us, we would love to hear what you have to say. You can find that link on the screen or in the chat. And we'll see you at the next one.